just love the drama.
Biggest U-turn since winter fuel allowance.
Cut that.
Because loose lips sink ships.
And what the fans want is to stop teams being owned by madmen.
Listen, you're really making a mess here. You're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. We're getting really cross with you.
The sticky patch came when the rest of the team's sticky patch came, which was sort of January onwards.
Grumble, boobs joke, hot ones.
No, let me tell you, I don't have to look at this objectively at all.
The Wednesday week!
Put on your podcast!
Hello, good evening, and welcome to another episode of the Wednesday week. Joining me this evening, I've got Stevie and calling Mr. Meadows himself, Tom Burton. I forgot your name there, Tom. Welcome to the show, pal. Also, welcome to probably all of our new Sheffield United listeners that have got involved for just to say hello this evening. The comments are wide open if you do want to get involved. This weekend, Sheffield Wednesday are in action against our local city rivals at 12 noon on a Sunday in order to retrieve some kind of dignity and try and go down swinging and go down fighting. And right from minute one, maybe minute two, we might show some fight. It really didn't go that way, and we'll get into it this evening. Now, you will notice to my side there that there's a spare square, and we're going to be joined by local celebrity Alex Miller. He's going to be joining us later on. So I feel there may be sparks flying this evening because him and I don't see eye to eye on a couple of things in terms of our manager. So Stevie, I'll come to you last actually. Tom, how was your weekend?
Bar 90 minutes on Sunday, solid, yeah. Yeah, decent. And it's always strange when you've got a Sunday game. It just throws the entire weekend out, and especially when you've got a young'un, not chasing them around on a Saturday. So yeah, it's odd weekend. Did we get there? Not sure.
I feel we'll probably get into the expectations and all that. Let me tell you, Stevie, I know what did you do on the Saturday? You were there at Bramall Lane on the Sunday. What did you do Saturday? You had something special going on, didn't you?
I went to watch Molly. Molly played for Yorkshire basketball. So I was up in Huddersfield. She's on a talent pathway. So he's on a program called Aspire. So she's currently seeing how far she can get with that. So she's had a really good season, coming to the end of the season for the under-14s. Bearing in mind she's still only 11, so she's playing 2 years up.
Is she still a foot bigger than everybody on her team as well?
She's doing all right. She's got a teammate that's a similar sort of size to her, but yeah, she's huge. So she went up and spent the day up there, and it was really good. Away from the football and the Wednesday chat, really good to see my little one, or not so little one, playing for Yorkshire against North East, North West. Played against Wales under 13s. So that was my Saturday. Low key, but very proud of her. She's done some good stuff. And then we spent Saturday night watching the Hatters and eating burgers. So yeah, Saturday was better than Sunday if you want to think about the football.
Well, I tell you what, let's talk about the football. Sorry, I'm absolutely dying here. I've decided to sink into alcohol this evening and give it a good go. I just saw that a lot of people were talking about what they were doing over the weekend, and Nat 78 when I went paint shopping for the wife. Great days. Literally watching paint dry over the weekend. I kind of enjoy that. And Stevie, apparently you've been seen on Sky again. You saw their
you and the other half of the tribe.
Yeah, me and Steph, we went. She got the tickets this time around, so Molly was very upset that she didn't get to go because she wanted to see some aggro, basically. But Steph reserves her one away game of the season for Bramall Lane. So yeah, it was me and Steph, and we came out of the game on yesterday afternoon, and we was just inundated with people that we've not spoken to for ages going, "Look at this, you were on the telly," and I'm like, yeah.
I tell you what, what we've just had here, I've just had a message here from Lee Wildgoose here saying never have your other creative partner on. Do you know what? He's right. We should actually ask it. Do you know what, Lee? It's never dawned on me. My sincerest apologies. We will get you on at some point. Just to I'm sorry, Lee. Do you know what? It never dawned on me to go.
Boo Dan
Fudge.
Boo Dan Fudge. Just his little.
Got to start sending in merch, Goose.
Yeah, that's it. To be fair, Goose does all of our graphics as well. Bless him. So we we will get him on. But like I said, space is reserved this evening for Alex Miller. He's going to be joining us in a bit. Now, as if you didn't know, the Wendy were in action against Sheffield United. Thoughts going into this one, Tom? Did you feel like there might be some fight, there might be some passion? We can't get relegated at Bramall Lane, can we?
Well, Saturday afternoon, I'm away at my niece's party, and a full of 9-year-olds talking what 9-year-olds talk about, and thankfully,
what do 9-year-olds talk about?
Something called capybaras, which are like a dog-sized hamster. Apparently, it's just this Korean thing. It's just mental.
Wait, the kids are just into capybaras now.
Yeah.
Remember when it was just Pokemon? Do you remember when it was just Pokemon?
It's absolutely insane, and that's all my 5-year-old daughter started saying and just laughing about. Anyway, I digress. Where were we? Football Saturday, yeah. So thankfully my brother-in-law got Sky Sports News on, so we're watching the West Brom game, and of course they did no favours. So it came down to it, didn't it? And
hate watching West Brom.
Do you know? I'm just thinking, just can somebody do us a favour once? Let's just one favour. No, Coventry sealed it, didn't it, for us? So yeah, going into Sunday, I think you're praying, aren't you, not for a cricket score? That's the only thing I didn't want.
Just don't get battered.
And Sunday morning, you're like, I've been out for a bit of a run, doing the whole run walk Wednesday week thing, went out for a bit of run, and you're coming back thinking, right, 12 o'clock, what do? Do I watch it? Do I not watch it? Steve, you had to go and watch it.
Yeah.
You're praying, aren't you, not for a cricket score?
And that's all you want, right? You just want to have a minute and just go, do you know what? Just don't get battered. So my Saturday consisted of I had to drive down from London to Brighton to go to work, right? And my car, every time it got over about 3,000 revs, I went, oh no, I'm supposed to be driving up to Sheffield tomorrow for this game. And so I pulled up, went running to the dentist, because you know what dentist appointments like? They're like rocking horse shit. Ironically, I'm going to change that phrase to they're like dentist appointments. And so I finally got there, walked in at 2 minutes past late, sprinted because my car weren't having it. Walked in, they went, oh, you're just in time, Mr. Fudge. All right, sounds sick. Got a filling. I didn't have a filling. And then came out and I texted a few geezers saying, mobile mechanics, do you mind running a diagnostic on my car? It sounded like a manifold issue. You need to pump some shit out. When they over rev it and they put the big cloud out the back, thought I might get away with one of them. It's never one of them. No. As I'm walking out the dentist, I got a text message from one of these mechanics I'd text, and he said, oh, do you mind just bringing it to the shop? I went, well, I didn't check. I went, yeah, of course, whatever. Fine. Yeah, I'll bring it. He went, yeah, we're here. Sent me a pin. It was 40 minutes away. Like, may as well have been in Worthing, further down the south coast. May as well have been in Southampton, right? You know what I mean? So I've got there. Fucking cars, like, all the way down there. Am I going to, within 45 minutes of me being there, am I going to Sheffield United versus Sheffield Wednesday on Sunday? I am not. So all of a sudden now I'm having a bad time now. I'm having a bad time. And so anyway, the day went to shit. Everything's gone to shit. Work went to shit. Everything went to piss and buggery by like 3 o'clock. The breakdown truck that came to get my car broke down at the services. So I had to get another breakdown truck to take me home. I'm now back in London. It's now 5 p.m. I've got the mug on, right? And then at 7 p.m., the filling fell out. I can't.
At that point, you just go to bed, or did you go and get a large bottle of scotch?
I bought 8 cans of Guinness, right? I thought I'll need these tomorrow as well. So I sat down, right? So that's how my Saturday's gone. So I've sat down. I've gone to the gym in the morning. I thought, right, I'm going to get some creamy pints and crisps. That's the plan. Sat down, poured myself a pint of Guinness, put the game on, and the head had not settled by the time that first goal had gone in. I was still waiting for it to settle. You know what I mean?
I haven't topped it up.
I'm absolutely fucking, yeah. You know what I mean? I've not even put I'm still doing the 2-part pour and all the rest of it. Absolute arseholes of a weekend I've had. And it's all gone to shit by 2 minutes past 12. Do you know what I mean? I tell you what, Stevie, tell us that a bit of a story there for the kids, but tell me about the palpability around the stand and then going into that first game and stuff like that?
Do you know what? I made the observation as we were walking in last season. When you went in there last season, and it was lined. The streets were lined, and they were yesterday, with obviously the police. You've got the United fans outside Panenka, so they were on the streets, just on the corner on the roundabout, and you can see places were being cordoned off and what have you. And there's just that expectation that there's going to be a little bit of fizz in the air. Do you know what I mean? I didn't feel that yesterday. There was almost like an air of inevitability around the place, and it was almost not apathy. That's not absolutely not the right word to use, but there was a feeling of inevitability around what was to come from Wednesday fans. There was no sort of needle. There was no singing and shouting and chanting outside. You know, there's been years gone by, typically in a derby, not just Sheffield, but in any sort of derby, you'd expect people pointing, people having a pop, people saying things, people jumping after each other, and there being that sort of, that not aggression, but that sort of conflict in the air, if you like, that sort of banter. But it just didn't feel like there was any there. You get the odd pocket here and there, but me and my sister just kind of we got out of the car, we walked past the petrol station, and we walked in, and it was just literally the away end was just, you know, the cordon there, and it was, right, is this it? Yeah. We walked in, got padded down, walked up, straight in, managed to get a drink, and then we stood there and watched people come in one by one, and everybody was the same. It was almost like you're seeing the mates and people that were, you know, that got the tickets and managed to get themselves through. And again, the following one once we got into the stand and, you know, we'd gone 1-0 down, the singing, we were an absolute credit, as we always are, or we tend to be. But just beforehand, it just felt really sort of, I know it was before, but it was after the Lord Mayor's parade sort of thing. It was, there was nothing about us when we were waiting to go in there. And that felt quite sort of abject, really. I know you asked Tom about the sort of the expectation going into the game. For me personally, I didn't want it to be something that was embarrassing, and I didn't want it to be something where we took an absolute hiding. But as much as anything else, and I've said this a couple of times, whatever happens, we've still got the bragging rights for 4-0. And I'm not one for chanting and singing about Boxing Day. I said, if we lose 3-0, I'll even take a 4-0. But what we're going to do if they win 5-0, we're going to have to come up with a raft of new songs that we're going to have to get after.
Oh, do you know what? That wouldn't be the worst. But, you know, Stevie was hoping for not a battering, but he did predict a 4-0 win for Sheffield United on the day.
I went to the absolute limit of what was acceptable to me.
Yeah, there was a weird bit when we do these predictions. Like, Holly's not been backward in coming forward when it comes to putting Wednesday getting battered this season. And I put 0-0 because I couldn't bring myself to write 2-0. You know what I mean? Or 2. I couldn't bring myself to do it. I just couldn't bring myself to do it. But you're right. There was an air of inevitability. Today I was on TalkSport with Max Ruston, and I said the football gods have been so cruel. Like, you know what I mean? When you think about it, Tom, right? Not only have we had a despot nutcase owner, right? We've brought in a load of kids to play them. They've all got long-term injuries. Gisekera, George Brown, Ernie Weaver, the ones that have been doing all right. They got long-term injuries as well. Then we lost our players. Then we lost more bloody players. Then we decided to go to preferred bidder status when everybody's having a Christmas break. We cannot catch a break. And then as the coup de grace, the cherry on top, the maraschino aperitif, we can get relegated at Bramall Lane. Come on, you know, have we not been through enough?
Having lost his keeper midweek, it's just you're right. I mean, if you're writing a script, they'd knock it back because you'd be like, nah, come on, lads. You know, this is a bit far-fetched. It's like putting something in ChatGPT and saying, "Can you write me the most far-fetched football script for a season that's going to include a team finishing on minus points?" Yeah. Getting relegated before anybody's ever got relegated ever, but also that relegation has to be confirmed at their local rivals, of which they used to share the ground. Well, the ground was theirs. They moved that. They go, nah, it's bullshit. I'm not having it. Get out.
Fucking ridiculous.
Look what's happened, everyone.
Ridiculous, mate. Absolutely ridiculous. I tell you what, Stevie, let's get into some comments. I've seen you've put some aside. What have we got? How angry is everybody?
Again, not necessarily angry. We just got a couple that kicked off. Just a quick shout out to William Brown. Normally listens to the podcast on his way to work on a Tuesday. Decided to make it the first time that he's going to watch live. So thank you very much. If you are watching live for the first time, Dan's going to tell you how you can like and subscribe in a bit. So please make sure you do. Sharman's been on. Been a while since I've heard from Sharman. Thought you got turkey teeth when you had your hair plugs, Fudge. I don't know if you want to come back on that one.
Comment of the night.
I paid the extra 40 quid for the white fillings, and now I wish I'd have gone to Turkey, if I'm honest.
And then we've got another one that's just come up. It's quite a long one from Danny Goodison. I felt it was worth talking about. Just felt empty and apathetic about it all. We all know it's been coming for months, obviously referencing the outcome of yesterday's game. What really hurts is that one bloke has done this untold damage to a club and a community and has walked away from it with no real punishment. Feels it's a disgrace, but despite the emptiness and apathy now, and no matter what comes in the remaining weeks, be up for it and raring to wave in a new era come August. There were similar events in Doncaster back in 1998, and although it took time for them to come back, they managed to. So again, feeling that we're there. There's that inevitability that's come, and then finally, just offering a little bit of a separate sort of viewpoint on the escort in and the journey into the ground yesterday. I got in pretty early and actually bumped into Alex on the street outside, and it was fairly calm and low key. But Simon Shepherd's been on and said you should have been in that escort from South Yorkshire Police. It was a fucking joke. Worst police escort he's ever been in.
Alex, welcome to the show. Joining us right now is 2003 haircutted man, Alex Miller. Have you just got out of the shower, brother? I like that. That's a fuzzy affair.
This is and it explains my lateness, for which I apologise. This is the hairy man who's been lying on the floor next to his 3-year-old's bed for the last hour, desperately trying to get sleep. So
coming on here, with a trod water for you, mate. With a trod water for you. I tell you what, I saw your article and your photos in reference to the guy that got the cut on his head and the police escort and all the rest of it. Did you not feel that was a load of performative old shite, that entire police escort? Do you feel, you've been to these more than I have. Do you feel they're necessary? I feel like it's just like, here's a pen of Wednesday fans, chuck stuff at them, lads.
I mean, I'm not going to get up. I'm certainly no expert on crowd control and all that, right?
You know what I mean?
Yeah, look, it did feel. So I did the walk. So I went up and got my saw Stevie, went up and got my press pass, and then joined it at the roundabout, up in Enkeries and then onto Bramall Lane, and it was frightening at parts. I'm 34 and big old unit, and there were moments that were scary. I've been a part of a couple many years ago. We're following Bradford City and headed down to Huddersfield, and in my naivety, I thought it would be something like that, and it was a different kettle of spuds altogether. I think, to be fair, the big problem that I've not spoken to SYP at all, but I think a big problem that they've got is the geography of it down to Bramall Lane. There's a lot of bottlenecks. There's a lot of crossroads and places where people would approach and all this sort of thing. And I know they've got their own problems at Hillsborough, but just to put it into the only other experience or something like that I've had, if you imagine that walk down from the train station at Huddersfield, it's a lot of big open spaces, and you can imagine that's a lot easier to look after. So. Yeah, no, it was a frightening. I was quite taken aback by it, and I think that was my naivety, having been part of the prawn sandwich and press box for 2 o'clock ago. Too long.
Do you not feel like a lot of it's quite performative, though, this entire back and forth at the Blades? Because I think every time there is a local derby, especially over the last couple of years, the patter's been shit, hasn't it? Like the patter. On both sides. Shit patter. You know what I mean? Put that on your honours board. We beat you at your gaff. Well, we're skin. Well, put that on your honours board. We're 4-2. Boxing Day. Oh, my God, lads. Oh, my God. I tell you what, we had Jimmy Blades, right? Jimmy Ramble, who was on BBC Sport today. And listening to him, he couldn't resist getting a dig in. Like, you know what I mean? And fair folks, right? You can't. But, like, I always feel that and I hate saying this because it sounds like sour grapes and all the thing, a bloody pig and all the rest of it, but their success seems to be measured against ours. Do you know what I mean? So, for example, right, when Wednesday Till I Die podcast started up, they had this presenter on it called Jamie. Absolute fucking dickhead, right? And what I tried to do was just ignore them. You know what I mean? Since then, James and I have spoken a few times, and you know, and that geezer's not been involved in that podcast for about 3 or 4 years. But what you do, you go, all right, is somebody I don't particularly care for. Just ignore their existence a little bit. But every time it comes to the Sheffield Wednesday, Sheffield United derby, their success is measured against what we've done. Does that make sense? And I know that's a really roundabout way of discussing it, but you know, do you know what I mean? And also, I wanted to call Jamie a dickhead on the internet.
I think. I think. Sorry, Alex. I think there is a measure of that, and I don't know whether this has just been us being Wednesdayites and trying to, you know, roll a turd in silver glitter and hopefully we can put a shine to it. But there is something in that, because, and I don't know if it's just been the bigger brother, older brother, you know, more successful team, but there is that. And I've got a lot of mates that are Unitedites and ex-colleagues who, for some reason, no matter what they're doing, there's been occasions in the last 10 years when they've been 2 divisions above us, where the yardstick still. And I don't know if that's just me being sour grapes because it's Monday after derby and I'm bitter and I look at all these 90s shirts and just try and fish some nostalgia. Why are we the yardstick for United? Go and row your own boat.
And they've been better than us the last 2.5 decades. Like, exactly, we should be looking at them, but I just want to pretend that they don't exist.
Fair play. I mean, I am one of those people who, I don't like United, but I don't hate United. And I like to see all South Yorkshire clubs do well. I don't mind Rotherham doing well. I don't mind Donny doing well. I live in Donny, and I've got relatives that are Donny fans, relatives that are Barnsley fans. I like South Yorkshire clubs doing well. But for some reason, we're the yardstick in the entirety of South Yorkshire that people love to measure and come up against us and beat us. Alex, you might see, does this happen to other clubs? Does that reverse itself somewhere? Because I don't see it.
I was gonna, and I've been sat here, sort of trying to work out a way to put this as a Wednesday writer, and
it's more articulate than Dan Fudge calling people fucking dickheads.
No.
He's a dickhead, though. He is a dickhead.
in a way that doesn't get me cancelled by the.
Keep your employment, please. Yeah.
What I'd say is,
bring it.
It would sort of work the other way, wouldn't it? So. Wednesday's bigger brother tag, and I think there is a bit, you know, that's in a roundabout way acknowledged by both sets of fans. It's sort of edging closer to some sort of parity. I mean, that only exists because Wednesday aren't in the same city as either the Manchester clubs or the Liverpool clubs or Newcastle. Or, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Does that make any sense at all? Or
we don't do it with Leeds, for example, Alex. Who, you know, and I'm remiss to say it out loud, but they are bigger, better club than we are, right? They've won more. You know what I mean? But we're not like going, oh, look at Leeds, fuck Leeds. You know what I mean? What are Leeds doing? Leeds are doing shite at the minute. Grumble. I couldn't name you half their team. I know Liam Cooper played for them. They are. Jot that down. And Kalvin Phillips. They are. Like, I just feel that it's a thing that I always seem to notice. But again, it could be I'm grown up enough to admit that maybe I might just have the mug on because we're lost in a derby. But I tell you what, let's get into some adverts and let's get into the game afterwards.
Don't go anywhere too far. It's only time for the adverts.
So, welcome back. Let's get into the game. Like I referenced earlier, Patrick Bamford scored after 2 minutes. Absolutely took the wind out my sails. And I feel like that took the wind out my sails more than losing to Oxford did, Stevie. You know, do you remember when we were all like quite buoyed where, you know, Chatsiri's gone, Oxford's our first game, and then we lost to the worst technique long-range shot I've ever seen. And then 75 seconds, fam. McGuinness had not even settled.
I thought you said McGuinness, as in Mark McGuinness.
Yeah,
I was like, you were on bench. We got in, and it's the same old, isn't it? When it comes to us, our yardstick, our sort of criteria for success, if you like, is: are we going to be able to keep a clean sheet for more than 10 minutes? Are we going to get into, their half before 15, 20 minutes? Are we going to pass the ball, 7-8 times successfully before they get a shot on target? Are we going to get to halftime? And so on and so forth. So the moment that you saw that first goal, it just put everybody on the back foot, didn't it? And you kind of went, right, we're in for a long afternoon here. But it's not just the fact that they scored so early. It was just the nature of the goal as well, wasn't it? The ball broke, and Darla's managed to up. He's had every opportunity to clear it. He could have done whatever. He's decided to do that thing that you would tell absolutely everybody not to do. Don't go backwards with the ball, or don't cut inside with the ball. He then turned. He could have played the ball out with his left foot. He could have played the ball back to Liam Cooper, who's dropped back to 6 yards, and he would have just emptied it, and that would have been absolutely fine. But instead, he's decided he's going to swing his right foot at it. He's taken it literally to their lad, bang central of the goal. He's put his hand up like this to the point where everybody thought he was appealing for offside. He was apologising and hadn't put his hand down before they'd scored the goal. And it was just one slotted in. Cooper's played them all onside because he was still coming out, because he'd offered that outlet, if you like. And before you know it, it was one of the easiest goal that Bamford's going to score. Sky Sports go on about it as if it's, the goal of the season contender. They were absolutely euphoric about everything that United did yesterday, looking at the highlights and listening back to them. I just found it was just a really frustrating start to the game.
I'm just sorry, mate. As you were just trying to play down Bamford's goal, I thought I'd pout on the internet because I feel like a load of Sheffield United fans are going to clip that, and I wanted to look good during these clips. Probably getting taken from this evening. I don't feel that he was had his arm up in the air to appeal for offside. I don't feel he was calling for it. I think he was appealing for handball. And if you watch it back at Gustavo Hamer's chest down, it was one of those, we used to call them Gary Neville chest. You put your arms right close together. Let's say I sat here and I went, it was handball. And I was really like, that was very Chris McClure of me. That was very, let's say, right, it's handball. And I've gone in and gone, this is handball. It's arbitrary. It doesn't really matter, though, does it? You know what I mean? We could sit here, we could talk about Gustavo Hamer lashing out like he did, and the retrospective action that he's going to get, and the potential handball that happened on the edge of the box. Are we going to sit there and nitpick? It was already going to be a slow affair anyway, but that was one of the most entertaining derbies I've seen in modern history as well, by the way. That's quite fun to see. But what Ndala was doing, I think that was a little bit of youthful over-exuberance, Tom.
Do you know when you just think, don't concede in the first 5 minutes? And if that weren't in Pedersen's script as they were getting out, I mean, come on. It's the derby. Keep it tight. Clear it into Rosad, and he sort of turns and twists in that sort of back left-hand corner of our half, messes about, runs into trouble, and then plays a hospital ball across. And then Otegbayo just decides to fall asleep and let Patrick Bamford run off. And it's I bet Bamford thought all his Christmas had come at once. Because there's nobody around him. There's nobody in 5 yards of him. And he takes his time, and he's never going to miss. As you say, he's never going to miss from that. So what I was disappointed at yesterday, and I'm sure we'll come to the second half because that's at least something, is football 101 just didn't happen. It just didn't happen.
In doubt.
That first 5 minutes, first 10 minutes, first 20 minutes, football 101, he's set up to be defensive anyway, Pedersen. Just clear it. Just clear the ball. Reset yourselves. You know what Chris Wilder's all about. He's going to have them revved up to the absolute max. He's going to be giving it all big Wednesday, this, knock them off the perch, send them down. You can hear him. just knock it into Rose head, play it safe, reset yourself, knock them back, whether the first 10 minutes, and then get yourself to 20 minutes. And they just didn't do any of that. Just football 101 or Sheffield Derby 101.
Yeah. Alex, did I see you share an interview where Henrik Pedersen got a bit feisty, started dropping F-bombs in the press conference? Kind of like the bollocks, don't get me wrong. Big fan of the bollocks. Love bollocks, me. But the
clip that.
I'm pouting at that moment.
Yeah, quick pout, clip that. What was it last week? I can't remember. There was another quite tasty double entendre last week. It's kind of.
Oh yeah, I know what it is. I don't want to repeat it. I'll listen back. Often I'm sat. Yeah, that one. I'm often sort of sat on a train, sort of just whittling away, listening to you lot chat bollocks about Wednesday.
Yeah,
and like having to get my phone out and rewind and go, Is he
yeah, love spunk.
Yeah, right, okay, yeah.
I love bollocks and I love spunk, right? And he showed a bit of that in the press conference, and he was saying that we were competitive the first 20 minutes, or did I get that wrong?
Yeah, I'd like to point out that he showed neither of those things in the post-match press conference. Literally, I would
disclaimer.
No, he said that the plan was to be tight in the first 20 minutes, and he was showing a degree of anger and frustration at the fact that silly decisions let that plan down. I think it's probably a failing on our point that I think in the pre-match press conferences, which were obviously streamed, Henrik's very, very calm and measured, and I think goes in prepared. And post-match, he can get a bit fiery and sort of shows that emotion a bit more. And I think because the nature of the newspaper and stuff, we don't always put the videos out. And when you see stuff written down on paper, so I think that video has taken some people by surprise, and I have been surprised by that surprise because I'm sat there every week. So, do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, the theme of what he was saying was it was about staying in the game. And I did a podcast with Joe and Danny Hall, who's obviously on the dark side, on Friday, and extolled the virtue of this plan that what Wednesday have carried out in so many games this year, which is sort of staying level or certainly staying in the game until 60 minutes, and just how Bramall Lane would have felt very, very different and nervy because they're where's this 5-0 that we've all been talking about all week, and I think we saw that towards the end in a game where credit to Wednesday for how they went out and performed, but they had 2 shots on target, including the goal, and the last 15 minutes of that game was, you sort of sat there going, this is a nervy stadium. So had they been able to do that, clearly after 72 seconds, they sort of put paid to it. But you could see why the frustration was there, I think.
Listen, there are points where the players, once you've crossed that line, you've got no real influence over them, and all of a sudden you go, lads, what the fuck? Like, you know what I mean? We literally spoke about this. I get it. I still, it was nice to see Pedersen with that fire and that passion. But the question I'm going to fire back to you now, bear in mind in terms of chronological order, I'm now going to go with 2-0. Harrison Burrows double the lead after 19 minutes, and all of a sudden we're now 2-0 down and we're chasing the game, and now they're all starting to get a bit chopsy with each other. I wish we'd have started like that. That'd have been lovely. But the question I'll fire back at you, Alex, later on, I feel I don't want to do this now because I'm going to move around to Stevie, but we've played with fight and vigor and endeavor for the first hour of every single game we've played. You know what I mean? There's been a fight there, bar maybe a couple, you could probably argue. We're not getting shots on target. We're not getting shots on goal. We're not making that fight endeavor and that where our energy bar is full. We're not making that count. And that's where after in an hour of football, in a 90-minute game, I feel we should have had something more on the board by then. But what we'll do, we'll come back to that once we've got through the once we've got through the game, in order, I know you're a measured man, Alex, and you don't just want to start spouting shit on the internet.
I could do that.
I'm very good at it.
I listen to you do it every week, Dan. So
I'll make it look easy, Al. I'll make it look easy. So now we're 2-0 down, right? And Stevie, so we're 2-0 down. Half time comes around. Fucking hell, it must have been flat there, right? I mean, what was it like underneath the stands? What were you talking about? What was the vibes?
Yeah, there was from my point of view, a hope and an uncertainty, but a hope that we would, keep it tight than the 4-5 that we were talking about before. But it was busy down there. It was what it was. But there was no usual histrionics that you tend to get in away ends. The second goal took the wind out of everybody, really. And the first thing that I did, because I was to the right hand side as you look at the pitch. I was right hand side of the away end.
And the first thing you did was go, I bet that's Liam Palmer's fault. And stop it, leave him alone.
Look, we're not supposed to talk about the things that we put in group chats afterwards. And I'm going to, honestly, I'm telling you now, because I knew it was coming. It would have been one of them rascals out the LMS chat that would have gone, Liam Palmer, blah, blah, blah. It was not Liam Palmer's fault. And I'm just going to put it there. Anyway, I've looked to my left and looked at the scoreboard and got 19 minutes. And I'm thinking, and then I turned to my sister and went, like you just said there, we battled for 60 minutes. You look down their bench and they've got Cannon, they've got Campbell, they've got McGuinness, they've got, multi-million-pound players that they're going to bring on after an hour if all things are going well. And we're looking down the bench, we've got Granger, who I like, but then we've also got people like Emery, McGee, Johnson. The only person of any sort of experience is Ugbo. So the bench-to-bench comparison, I'm there thinking at 2-0, this is going to be a long afternoon here. And then what do I do? Do I stay till the end? If it gets to 6 or 7, do I stay until 90 minutes and then walk out afterwards? Or, you're at that point where it don't feel great. But at halftime, people went in. You could see them walking in as early as they could. To get the beers and what have you, but it just felt flat. There was nothing there, and deflated.
I feel like that's going to be the press, but the entire story of your afternoon every time I come to you about this, Stevie. But there was one bit, Tom, where he might have got a bit higher up, and that's the sending off of Kalvin Phillips, a game changer. Something we should have capitalised on. And then we did.
Dirty bastard. Now, I'm not a man for swearing normally on the internet. I'm not a man for swearing on the internet normally. However, and I've listened to a few things on this. His first act in that tackle, fine. Goes in relatively safe.
He gives it some beans, don't get me wrong.
Wins. I'm happy with that. It's then it's slow motion, so let's just put a bit of context on that. Everything looks bad in slow motion. He directs his foot down and goes to scrape or stamp. There's a scrape or stamp action for me, Ingleson. 100% intentional. 100% intentional that act was, because he won the ball and he could have left it at that because it connects with the ball, clears it nicely. He follows through and then he moves his foot down onto Ingleson's knee and shin. 100% red card, and he can get in the bin. Dirty bastard.
There was a second movement there. I believe there was. I'll be honest with you. When it first happened, I went standing there going, "Get him off, bloody hell, ref." I might have been, but I remember not thinking it straight away that it actually happened. But I might have been saying out loud, "Get him off, ref." But there was definitely like a secondary action there, wasn't there? You know what I mean? And then he got his marching orders, which I wasn't unhappy to see, because Kalvin Phillips has got Premier League pedigree. He was playing for England not all that long ago. It was nice to see the back of him, Alex. But for Sheffield Wednesday to capitalise as soon as he did, that was a bit of a shock, wasn't it?
It was smashing and tremendous.
Yeah. I shouted expletive off up the shagging Wendy's and threw an empty can of Guinness at the telly.
That's exactly what I did in the press box. Headbutted Danny Hall and no, it was it was nice to see. Like you sort of sit there and you go, "Oh, well, this is a moment that could potentially change this football match," and then it did because there was a bit of quality and and Adara Moli sort of ebbed and flowed out of the game, but he caused real problems, didn't he, for some periods. It was mad. He'd sort of be the best player on the pitch for 15 minutes, and then
walking.
Yeah,
and the last part of the first half, just what I could see Jamal Lowe. I watched it on Sky. See Jamal Lowe pressing, really working hard, and turning around, looking at Adam Marola and going, "Come on, then."
Yeah,
just walking.
He's got. He might have some. I don't know at what point, but there was some sort of talk about some muscle problem or cramp or something, and then that all falls back into the old. Oh, he's not played enough football over the last year and all this sort of stuff, doesn't it? But yeah, so yeah, and that finish from McNeil, we've seen that a number of times, haven't we? McNeil's a real funny player, because again, there's some afternoons where he just looks unbelievable, and then 6 weeks go past, and he hasn't really contributed, and again, that comes back with being green and stuff. But he's had a full season of Championship football. If he can produce more moments like that heading into next year, you sort of point at him and go, well, look, he's a player that's going to start in a half decent League One side.
I think you might be right. As long as we play him in the right position, I feel like that's key. He ain't the right back. Okay. So at this point, then, Stevie, take us out to the end before we go to adverts. There was fight. There was the crowd were up. Wednesday fans were bouncing a little bit. You must have felt the buzz when you were there, that type of thing. But it never really came to fruition. Otegbayo got sent off for like a second booking. I get it. You know what I mean? Referee wanted to even it up. It was turning a bit chopsy. But for that last, over half an hour, like 37, 38 minutes, I felt like there should have been more, and there wasn't. I don't feel like Sheffield United were defending on the back foot the entire time, like they should have been.
I know what you mean, but at the same time, if you give it a little bit of context from where you are after 19 minutes to whatever minute, forgive me, I can't remember what minute the goal went in. It was a different game second half, and the moment the sending off occurred, the Phillips sending off occurred, we got that foothold in. I think it helped scoring so quickly after the red card because it got our tails up, and we were then in a situation where we were on the front foot. But I entirely take your point that you'd want to see more attempts on goal, more direct sort of shots on goal, Cooper having more to do. That didn't come to fruition. It doesn't come to fruition with us, but just the fact that and I'd argue territorially for that period of time, we're probably in the ascendancy. We knew what was coming. We knew it would be difficult to get a second goal. We knew it would be difficult to get anything out of the game. But the fact that we made the scoreline from a personal perspective, the scoreline was respectable. After that goal went in, and we can argue the toss around 10 players versus 11 players, their player getting sent off, meaning that they were handicapped to an extent, which obviously from a numerical point of view they were. But it just got us, it gave us a shot in the arm that we needed to have that element of pride that we've been asking for a period of time. And if we're right, you walk into that game yesterday going, just play for the shirt, have a bit of pride for the crest on the chest and all those cliches. For that period of time when the goal went in and then we huffed and puffed a little bit, it felt like that. And I know there might be Unitedites that will listen to this and go, is that all you've got? And my response to that is, yeah.
With what we've got. That is all we've got. Yeah.
That's where we are. That's our ceiling and that's our limit. You're talking about Kalvin Phillips coming on loan from Manchester City, earning upwards of 150, 200 grand, whatever it is. We're talking about having players that are playing for Man City that have been on loan at Hull that are probably earning a fifth of that, if even, or a tenth of that, if even. There are levels to what we're talking about here. And the fact that we had the endeavour for what we did in that last sort of 25 minutes to half an hour, I know that I walked out the ground going, I'm disappointed that we've lost, but I didn't have that I'm gutted feeling that I thought I was going to have at half past 4. Do you know what I mean? So to that end, I'm not claiming a moral victory or saying that we're coming away with it with any sort of
we're better than
like
better than them, and we're more classy people. Yeah, I get it, mate. Yeah.
We are where we are.
Do you think at that point there's a couple of comments which you put up down, which I think are spot on, Steve, and you were there, so I'd be interested to hear what you thought about the sort of sense in the stadium. Wilder sort of outmaneuvered us, outflanked us, if you like, with his subs and his change of formation when they went down to 10 men. Do you not think Pedersen should have done something similar and gone for it?
Right. I'm going to put a pin in it and hand over in a minute to them. I know what you're saying, and I hear the argument.
He left it late then for subs again when
he did.
The impetus could have been there.
I think the first sub was telling, and I know it was forced, and I know what you're saying, but he's ended up. Cooper's come off, hasn't he, for Ugbo, and Cooper's limped off. So what was that change going to be? Because Ugbo was warming up, and it was the first time he'd come out of the subs bench in a game and a half since he's been back in the fold. He didn't warm up the week before against Millwall, wasn't it? He didn't get off the bench, but he's ended up warming up yesterday. And in terms of the changes, what we got, Johnson, how's he going to impact the game? Moses, not proven at this level. I've not seen enough of him to make me think he's going to have an impact on the game. What we're looking at there, we've got Emery and McGee, two centre halves. How are we changing the game when you're bringing them on at that point? The only player realistically that we could have brought on, I think, other than Ugbo, was probably Granger. And I know that we're protecting the kid because he's 17 years old. Is it going to be one of those Roy the Rovers moments? It goes back to that point where you look at their bench versus our bench. And I get it. And I understand this clamour for change. And in this sense, I fall down that sort of sat on the side of, we can only change what we've got. Are we going to take off a centre half and replace with a centre half? We're going to take off a midfielder and replace with another defensive player. Are we going to mix and match it about and put Johnson on, who's had his problems, put Palmer into midfield and change something there? People are going to laugh at that, but that's a change that we could have made. I just don't see what we could have done in that instance. Whilst he left it late, I don't necessarily think there was a great deal more he could have done yesterday.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into it after this.
Don't skip ahead, don't press that button. These ads are lean, not belly mutton. A tiny break before we pop. And don't forget the fun. Stop.
Over the last couple of weeks, Sheffield Wednesday have made a lot of late substitutions. I've been in one camp and Alex Miller, Psycho Miller's been in another in terms of protecting the manager. I also believe that, there should be an element of respect for Henrik Pedersen for sticking around through all this and all the rest of it. But I also believe that he's not doing it for free. You know what I mean? He's still getting paid as an employee, and I expect some kind of, output from an employee. So let's put our fingers in our ears. Hot topic. I can see my screen jittering around. If I turn into a mosaic, can you hear me? Okay.
That graphic's even louder when you're on the pod.
Oh yeah, we're not farting around the poo top.
It's so loud.
Alex, listen, I felt like the initial goal from Bamford wasn't anything to do with Pedersen. I feel like we should have capitalised more when we had one more person on the pitch, and I feel like we're setting up too much to not concede. Whereas I think my argument would be is, what difference does it make? We know where we're going. We know what we're doing. We want something to cheer. I want to see some players ready for League One. Some players, and all right, there is an argument of, players ready for League One. Let's get them in a system and all the rest of it. But I feel like there should be more, and nothing drove home more to me than this last week when I was speaking to a Sheffield United fan, a guy called Ollie, who was on our Hello from the Other Side from a podcast called Sheffield United Way. He also does another show with a really, really knowledgeable chap called Gabriel Sutton. And they talk about the EFL and mainly about the Championship. And he said, I feel that there should have been more from Sheffield Wednesday, given how good they've been in that first hour. Now, is that being romanticized somewhat because how good they've been considering everything that's going on, or have they actually been good and we should have capitalized on it a lot more? And to some extent, I can forgive the late subs because there's a point where it probably turns around and goes, fucking hell. You know what I mean? And I get that, right? I understand that. But I feel there should have been something more before the big R sat next to us on the league table. Am I being out of order, Psycho Miller?
Qu'est-ce que c'est? I don't think, you're being out of order, if we're going to reduce it to the question of, could Wednesday have expected more?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it would be hard to argue otherwise because they've not won since September. But I think there's a very, very strong argument to suggest that and it sounds so defeatist and it sounds really, really basic. And I want to be like the football writer that comes on and offers like a really detailed, technical and tactical explanation of this, that, or the other. This is a squad that in parallel universes are being battered 4 and 5-0. And you mentioned conversations with other people because we're in it, and I'm emotionally attached to it in a large way as well. And you just wonder whether you sort of become blinded or doctrinated or whatever it might be. And speaking to people around the game, and I'll make a distinction here. Asking a player or someone in a press conference or them knowing that whatever they say is going to go in the paper or whatever, you're not going to get an honest answer, perhaps, if they think their manager's doing. What I'd say is we have a lot of chats off the record with a lot of people who I think people would respect their opinion. And the number of chats that I've had that have been critical of Pedersen and the coaching staff and how Wednesday have gone about it have been in the single figure percentages. There are lots and lots of people who are hugely impressed, not even understanding, I'd say impressed with how they've held things together. Comparisons to previous administrations, it just doesn't work. People have sort of looked at it and gone, well, Derby won, I think that they win 14 games and draw 11 or something. Have a look down their squad list and what those players have gone on to achieve. That they were picking out of it. I don't know whether they were Category 1 or Category 2. I'd imagine Category 1, looking at the players that came out of it, but a Category 1 academy. And Wednesday's clearly isn't quite there. You go, well, you look at, if Wednesday are going to pick the best out of their academy, well, they did. It was Ernie and it was George and it was Yita. And so you go into maybe the next stage and look, these lads have done magnificent. I wouldn't want anyone, listening to me rambling on here to think this is a criticism in any way, shape or form. But it was yesterday. I looked at one point towards the Wednesday fans, and the Wednesday bench were warming up on the left-hand side.
I actually have a graphic, don't I? Let me get the graphic up for you so you can see the names there.
Yeah. So and I looked out, and they're all sort of stood there, and you're like, these are children. They're not. Ernie Weaver looks like quite a big lad. And George Brett, I've been close enough to speak with George, and he's got a bit of, there's some very, very young children there. And I do, actually on Sunday, there was a point where I sort of subscribed to the Row of the Rovers thing and was like, go on then, get Will on.
Yeah.
Because this mad shit happens sometimes, right? But
surely the football gods can't be that cruel that all the shit that's happened, we're going to get relegated here today.
Yeah.
Hold my beer.
Granger hat trick.
Yeah.
Wednesday playoffs. Let's kick it off. So, but yeah, I think look, there's like 100 different points going around in my head and all the rest of it. And I'm not here to defend Henrik Pedersen or just be a cheerleader. But I would be absolutely genuine. I've put this in a couple of pieces, so I'm probably boring people with this now. But I found myself at an event while I was still on paternity leave, and I was sat next to I won't name him because he didn't make clear he wanted this on the record or not, but a Premier League legend who has managed clubs, and I've absolutely no doubt people would go, oh, right, wow, that's an opinion that I respect, sort of thing. And he has nothing to do with Sheffield Wednesday. But when we got chatting and I mentioned my job, he said that he'd watched and analysed a number of games as a favour to someone at another club. That's why I'm not going to say his name, partly.
So hang on, he's not Sheffield Wednesday related, so I can cross Tony Pulis and Steve Bruce off of my guessing list.
Yeah, it would have been nice to see them again.
Well, she got the bingo card done.
Tony, what's going on, man? And yeah, he said that it was a squad that he thinks would, and this was when Bannon was still at the club. He said it was a squad that he thinks would be slap bang in the middle of a League One relegation battle.
Wow.
And I've had similar conversations throughout the season. The opposition managers come in, you'd be asking the same question every time, and almost to a man they've praised Henrik. Again, that I can see that, people might look at that and go, well, he's on the record, he's not going to slag off a colleague. But these are the conversations we keep having. And look, the role that I'm lucky enough to have, it doesn't make me know anything about football, more than you guys.
Sorry, ladies and gents. I don't know how we've pulled this off, but we've made Alex feel like he's lucky to have the role he is. I don't envy you at all, Alex. I don't.
It beats a week down, pit down. That's what I'm
Not digging call out, are you, Alex?
But I don't know. I wouldn't profess to know anything more about football than half the guys in the away end. You know what I mean? That's not what the job is. But what it does do is just it gives us exposure and access to opinions that are, greater than mine, frankly. And it's just the same conversation that keeps being had every time. And yeah, I think I've heard you, Dan, on weeks gone by sort of talk about the I can't remember which managers exactly. Was it Darren Ferguson was one of them? And
yeah.
Would that be worth 2 or 3 more points? Yeah, maybe, or a couple of wins. But I think there are 80-90% of managers who would go in and not protect the players in the way that he has. Exude a positivity, hold things together.
But for me, and especially online since this derby's happened, I feel like that I'm going to say the word shtick, that routine of I'm proud of the lads. It's worn very thin, and don't get me wrong, only purely because it's been going on for so long, right? And we just want something new, and we like things that are new and shiny and stuff like that. I understand that to an extent, and people's psychology around it, but I genuinely thought there was more people who'd be in the what's the bloody doing camp.
Yeah, not in football, not with the people I speak to. I'm saying that completely genuine. Like I say, I'm not cheerleading. I don't gain anything from being relatively positive about that what's been put in place. I get the press conferences, whether I slag him off or whatever. It's just a genuine feel, from what the conversations I've had throughout the season. And like I say, there will be cleverer people than me that look at certain tactical things and to sort of really, really debase it to where I'm at. I don't know what going for it looks like, because for me, you've sort of got, you either get more players higher up the pitch like they did at Swansea and they got battered, or you give it to your fullbacks and they just smash balls forward to a big man. Well, who would that be? I've said a few times, if Wednesday had retained one of Michael Smith or Callum Patterson, they'd have won. They'd have won 4, 5, 6, 7 games.
Yeah.
I'm still holding out that they're going to come back in League One because I honestly, those pair, they'll just stick them up front and hoof it to them and go, there you are. That's League One.
That gives you a way of playing, and then you've got people running around them, and you know what I mean. But you're not just banging it up to Bailey or Jamal, or they're not those types of players. So there are very few options that I can see from, again, my limited sort of tactical ability or analysis or what have you. I just don't know what going for it looks for, and I worry that some of the discourse around it, it should be being more critical in press conferences. Just have a go. Throw the 16-year-olds out. That's I understand that might make some fans feel better.
Mm-hmm.
And I get that. And look, there's an argument for that being the case from time to time, and maybe there should have been more than that. But I'm not convinced it makes the football that much better. And you know, you might get more afternoons where it works, but I think you get a hell of a lot more afternoons like Swansea.
All right. Let's. I tell you what, Stevie. Let's put a pin in that. Let's go to some comments right after this. Hot topic. What's the man's in the internet saying? I bought 6 whole seconds there to get some comments together.
I've been that far deep. I'm gonna start at the bottom and go backwards. A lot of love for Alex in the comments, but
go for it.
How would anybody blame HP for what's going on this season? He stuck with us in our darkest moments. Hasn't got a squad to work with. Anybody who shows some quality is out injured soon. Andrew Osborne, relative newcomer to the LMS community as well. Welcome, Andrew. Kids ain't ready at Wednesday. Chef Cam's been on as well. It might be because folks working in the game aren't watching matches stuff.
Sorry, can I just interrupt you there with Chef Cam, by the way? Chef Cam, add 2-factor authentication onto your Twitter account right away, because I got a text message from you today saying, hi, can you vote for me by clicking this link? And it was the same message that I got from Around the Grounds, who also got his account hacked 2 days later. So change your password and get 2-factor authentication on your Twitter, please, Chef Cam, right now. I was going to message you, but it's been hacked. I don't know. You know what I mean? I've just realized I'm quite in a fortunate position to start. Put 2-factor authentication on your thing. Carry on.
What is even that word? Then we got
the thing we all hate.
We have to stick with HP until new owners announced, unfortunately. I have to say, for me expecting Dan to come out with an opposing, I don't know if Alex has just handed you your ass, to be fair. I'll throw it back to you just with this last one, though. Dan, what would your realist expectation of a better manager be with this squad?
I tell you which is, I feel like it's more psychological than physical. And I think I've said it before on this show. I feel that the motivator, the manager, has lacking motivation. I think he's fed up. And I think, like the rest of the fans, and this is where I've got a degree of sympathy for him, a degree of empathy for him, is that the element of, come on, lads, let's dig one out. And I'm proud of the boys. We're all tired. We want something new. We want to see something new. I don't think we're seeing enough new. I think we're still seeing late substitutions, but I also agree that he's got one hand tied behind his back, because when he looks at that bench and goes, Fusiri, go warm up. He's the most senior player on that bench, right? Next to Ike Ugbo. Like, I get it. I understand it. You know what I mean? I'm not saying here's a spoon, go dig a hole. But I also want somebody behind the guy digging the hole with the spoon going, hey, come on, I reckon you can do this. Come on, boys. But I think he's walking into the change and going, fucking hell, let's try not to get battered, or a version of. You know what I mean? But I also, and thank you for that video today, Alex, I like seeing that side of him where he's Mardy. I like a Mardy Henrik Pedersen. That's fun for me. I enjoy that because we're all Mardy. But
and that's what I think we all were hoping at half time on Saturday would be the Henrik Pedersen version, and I think the players got it at half time because
I think you're right.
He's measured. I've met him a few times as he's been coming into Hillsborough. Measured, really nice bloke. Smells amazing, by the way, as well.
Lovely.
I think he let loose on Sunday lunchtime at them lot. Definitely at half time because we got night and day. I mean, okay, the sending off kind of skewed it, but different team. So I think he lost it. I think he lost it with him at half time.
You can tell that. A lot of people have referenced the scream at the end of the game as well, which I'm like, you go on, that's it. You know what I mean? I like bollocks.
I know. Yeah, you do, and spunk. The one for me was the second goal. I know we're talking Derby Day and what have you, but the one for me was the second goal against Millwall. It was the most animated I've seen him. Obviously, we've gone 1-0 up. The second goal's gone in. He's lost a lot. His arms have gone. He's effing and jeffing. He's turned. He's got his drinks bucket thing that they sit on. He's gone to. He's cocked his leg. He's about to leather that halfway down the south stand. He's got it in him, and I just think personally, I understand the argument on both sides, or I appreciate the feeling that there needs to be something different, and we've got to change it up. But I think Alex has hit the nail on the head when you talk about the Swansea example. Mix it up and play in a different way, and let's get further up the pitch. And then we find ourselves getting our arses handed to us. And then these people that are going, let's just go out there with a bit of endeavour and a little bit of fight, and let's do something different. And it doesn't matter if we lose 4-5-0. It does matter if we lose 4-5-0 every week. It does. And you can say that it doesn't because we've had a go. When you're 3-0 down and then you're 4-0 down, people aren't feeling that we're having a go. They're not. And they can say that we're playing with pride and this, that, and the other. But it's just really frustrating that we find ourselves in this situation, because I genuinely think, and I know you go back a year, people will talk about Rule, and the person behind the manager was Pedersen, and there were people talking about the fact that all the possession stuff, I believe it was done with Pedersen. He was the man that had it when we had the ball. He was the one that was making things tick a little bit. He had all this influence. He had everything else that was going on. And when he came in, and let's be right, he stuck with us when, and I know that that's one of your arguments otherwise, Dan, but he did stick with us. But he'd have had to have known at some point this season that it ain't going to get any better, and it's going to continue to get worse. And to give him his due, and to his credit, certain people have walked away at the start of the season, mid-season, have been allowed to go, and this guy has gone, do you know what? I'm going to stick it out, and I'm going to see where we are. I don't have any feelings necessarily one way or another as to whether or not the new the new owner needs to keep him, because I don't know who the new owner is. But I think Pedersen deserves a little bit more credit in the bank for everything that's happened, and we're turning around going, yeah, but we ain't got a plan B. We ain't, because there's no plan B.
I think I'm very much of a Henrik Pedersen fan, and for those reasons you've outlined, Stevie.
Is this a bald person thing? Is this what it is?
I have an official no hair follicle issue. I think that we're all, and a lot of people in this podcast will be in a position where they've had to lead a team or manage a team, and could you put yourself into that position day in, day out, knowing full well that you've been in at the weekend and lost, and we've got Norwich? You're right, Dan. Who's motivating him? You've got to be able to go to that well consistently and dig out the resolve and go, right, lad, let's go again. It's mentally. I worry for the bloke, because he's going to have some PTSD at end of his tenure at Wednesday for sure, because how he can keep going back to the well of resolve and go, come on, lads, let's go again. Come on, lads, let's go again.
Well of resolve. I absolutely love that, by the way.
Get a graphic.
But I tell you what, when he's managed Revolution Exeter in the summer, then he can talk to me about resolve. I tell you what, I am having absolutely fucking none of it.
To be fair, I saw Stevie last week in action and hit his gaff. And yeah.
Oh yeah, you saw each other at work, didn't you? You saw each other at a capacity.
The day job.
I don't like that. That's like, I tell you what, Alex, it's like seeing teachers outside of school. You know what I mean? You know, and they all call each other.
Teachers don't exist outside of school. They
no,
don't.
they don't. They're like, oh, like you're in a restaurant and you're like 10 years old. They're like, oh, what? You see a couple of teachers sat there in the jeans, and you go, oh, what you having, Alan? I don't know, Trevor. There's fuck all. And you're sat there going, oh my god.
And I'll give Stevie. I'll pull the curtain back. Stevie's one of those cool teachers as well because he's PE. He's walking around in shorts and trainers, and it's like February, and he's one of those cool teachers as well.
I tell you what, before I up, Stevie, there is a significant amount of follically challenged men in our comments, isn't there?
Yeah. Yeah, we got.
It's all them. You know what it is? It's all them years of watching Wednesday and rubbing your hair, going, "Oh,
I've got a guy."
That's why I've got nowhere.
Philip Byers, Slapheads rule. We've got Mo 1970. Leave us Boldies alone. Hashtag Boldies Unite.
Bullshit. I tell you what, that's and Dave Preston's been on as well. He's a proper slaphead and all. So I tell you what, Alex, that's why we're not very popular, mate. That's why we're not world class at what we do, because we've got too much air. That's why it is. We're too hirsute.
Well, I came into this chat late and I had to apologise, and the first thing I heard was that I had too much hair. So pick a lane, mate.
And that's it. That's where it is. That's where it is. Right, Stevie, can you talk to us about the good stuff? We've got the Easter egg drop coming up. Please, can you get that up for me? And then let's talk about that, because Ash will murder us if we don't, because it's his thing that he does really well at.
Yeah, so it's live. I believe we're starting this Saturday with the Easter egg drop. We should have probably told Ash that he needs to come on and promote this, don't we? Because I didn't realise we're only 4 days away. It's that time of year, for those of you that may not be aware, for the next 3 home games, 28th of Feb, 10th of March and 14th of March, against Southampton, Watford and Ipswich respectively. We will have our gazebo up. We'll have potentially our mascots, at least one of them. That will be there on the day. We'll be giving prizes away for people that come and contribute to the Easter egg drop. If you've been living under a rock in TWW land and don't know what's going on, all you have to do, and what we do is we look to support local charities, as you can see on the screen at the moment. We've got PACT, we've got the Sheffield Children's Hospital charity. And this year we've also got the Sheffield Wednesday community programme that have volunteered to partner up with us. We will be collecting Easter eggs and then donating them to good causes through those 3 charities. Over the last few years, if we did the total, I think we were up to north of 1,300 Easter eggs that have been collected and donated to these fantastic causes. This time round, we've made no secret about it previously. We are aiming for 4 digits in terms of Easter eggs. I know it's a tough time of year, but if you have means and ways to do so, you can catch any combination of myself, Dan, Simon, Holly, Charlie, Ash, John potentially, who will be out and about, and anybody else that we can get tagging along to come and support this fantastic cause. The club have got behind it, and in these sort of period of negativity, it's great to be, and really, I'm really proud of being somebody who is involved with something that's such a good initiative that the club are getting behind, and the community program as well. So yeah, bring your Easter eggs down starting this Saturday.
Yes, please do. Please do. We're into round 2 of the last man standing, so keep an eye out for updates on that. After 75% of everybody fell away because we couldn't bring ourselves to bet on the only dead cert that was over the weekend was Sheffield Wednesday.
Team's friends voted on the dead cert.
Yeah, and Molly and Steph, Stevie's sister and daughter, were the only ones that, anybody with Spence as their surname voted. Fucking bullshit, mate. They owe me a tenner, I feel. And also, we're still halfway through our run and walk as well, raising money for the mental health charity Strong Minds Together. Alex, have you got any charitable things you want to talk about? We've turned into like a telethon, an ITV telethon this evening.
I feel like I should make something up. Hang on.
Yeah. The get Alex to bed before 9 p.m. Fund. That'd be lovely. The spam and toast. Honestly, there's a graphic in that. And Chef Cam has already been hacked. So if you do see anything from him, please don't reply or click any links. Chef Cam, you did ask when the Henrik Pedersen chat starts. It's around 45 minutes if you want to get rid of the waffle. Tom, thanks a lot for joining us this evening, pal. Stevie, it's an absolute pleasure. Psycho Miller, let's get together and swap hairstyling tips, shall we?
Let's do that.
All right.
What you're going to do? Stand there and hold the tub? Just cap guys. We do cap guy things. All right, I'm off. See you later. Oh, don't forget. Sorry, by the way, there is the WAWAW group on Facebook. I will be sharing that this evening as well to get you guys involved. They'll be telling you all about the egg drop as well. See you later.
Every week, live from 8 p.m. It's the Wednesday week. Bringing you football analysis.
They said we'll win the league next season.
Bringing you modern references.
I did a little 1920s fist pump there. Not done that in a while.
If we could do just a 1-to-1, not me because it'd last 7 days apparently, like Craig David.
I should not have said that. I should not have said that.
This shows like you're mental. No, I'm not.
Clip that.
Bringing you terrible impressions.
Wibble, wobble, wobbly, wibble, wobble, Cyber Jordan. When, hey, you got to play a 4-4-2. She. I don't know where these jokes are coming from.
Available on all social medias.
Obviously, this goes out on YouTube and as well as all the other social media out there, podcasts, etc.
The award-winning Wednesday week. Join us.